I want you to tell me the very first thing that you see down there below you, or the very first impressions that you have as you come back down to the surface.
There's a forest with a river running by.
And are you alone?
There seems to be a village nearby, but I'm in the edge of the forest.
And I'd like you to look down at where your feet would be and tell me what you see on your feet.
Boots.
What are they made out of?
Deer hide.
What color are they?
Tan.
And how are they strapped?
They're laced.
See if you can look up at the rest of your body. Tell me what else you're wearing.
Dress. Beads.
And I'm guessing you're female. Are you young or old?
Middle-aged.
About how old are you?
30.
Are you healthy? Where do you wear the beads?
Beads are sewn to the fringe of the dress.
Okay. Do you have anything else that you wear perhaps as a jewelry or adornment on your body?
I carry a pouch tied with rose.
Do you know what's in that pouch?
Medicine stones
And what do you use those medicine stones for?
to call in miracles.
Do you know why you're there at the edge of the forest?
I live there.
Are you heading back home or are you heading out?
I'm gathering plants.
What kind of plants are you gathering?
There's yarrow. I'm not sure. Little purple ones.
Mm-hmm. And what will you do with them?
Make them into medicine.
Is that what you do in the village?
Yes.
And do you know what your name is?
No.
Okay. And so what I'd like you to do now is to see yourself standing in front of the place where you live. So on the count of 3, you'll be standing there. 1, 2, and 3. What do you see?
It's a small hut. It's made of thatched reeds.
How small is it? How many people can it accommodate?
Just one.
Okay. So do you live there alone?
Yes.
So go ahead and enter the hut and tell me what's inside.
There are plants hanging from the rafters to dry. There are baskets and jars holding plants and things. There's some furs in one corner where I sleep, and there's a place for a fire.
Is that where you make your food?
Yes.
So I'd like you to see yourself having a meal. Tell me what you see.
There's dried meat, berries and leaves. I mix that in the pot and make thin cakes on the stones. I dip the stew out with the corn cakes.
So the leaves and the berries, that becomes part of the stew?
Yes.
And what is the meat from what animal?
A rabbit.
And how did you get that rabbit?
The people from the village bring it.
Do they always provide you with the meat?
Yes.
So what is your relationship with the village or your responsibilities?
I heal their illnesses.
And what do they give you in exchange?
Whatever I need.
And do you live separately from them or in the village?
I live separately.
And why is that?
It keeps my spirit strong.
Why would it not be strong if you were in the village?
There's too much darkness there. I can't communicate with the ancient ones.
So when you're by yourself, it allows you to communicate with the ancient ones better?
Yes.
And how do you communicate with them?
With the stones.
Can you describe how you do that?
I have certain herbs that I burn. I use the stones to call them in.
And how do you know when they come in?
I know. I see them, I hear them.
And what kinds of things do you ask them?
They tell me how to keep the people safe.
Just the healing things, or do you do other things to keep them safe?
I can call in the animals for their hunting. I can call in the rain when they need it.
And do the village people ask you to do that? Are they aware that you can do those things?
Yes.
And how often do you do that?
I do little things most every day, but the calling in the animals and the rain is usually just during those seasons.
Mm-hmm. How do the village people feel about you? Do they respect you?
They respect me, but they fear me.
Because you have the powers that they don't understand?
Right.
And how does that make you feel?
I don't know.
So let's move on the count of 3 to the next significant day in that life. 1, 2, and 3. What is happening?
The earth moved, giving birth.
Was there an earthquake?
Yes.
And what did the earth give birth to?
Destruction of the village.
Why did that happen?
They blame a witch.
Who did they blame?
They blamed me.
And what happened?
They drove me away from my home.
Where are you now?
It's mountainous here and cold.
So what did they blame you for?
There was sickness, and then the earthquake.
So the earth moved first and then they blamed you for it? Or did they blame you first for not curing the illness or for creating the illness?
Yes, the illness came first.
And did you try to cure it?
Yes.
Were you successful?
Not always.
And how did the villagers react?
The war chief's son died, and because he is powerful and did not like me, he turned the villages against me.
Do they have another healer to replace you?
There is a medicine man in the village. He also did not like me.
Do you know why they did not like you?
Because of my power.
So the medicine man is not as powerful as you?
No, he lies.
And what was the illness?
I do not know.
So become aware of where that village was. If you can expand your knowing and understand perhaps location where the village was.
I do not know.
Do you know what your people call themselves?
The people.
Okay. Let's go back to the cold place where you have been banished to now. You said it's in the mountains?
Yes.
So describe what you see around you.
I climbed for a day. I found a cave, and I'm staying there until I know what to do.
Is it safe in that cave?
For now,
And do you have any food with you?
I was able to bring a little with me.
So what do you decide to do next?
There is a city to the north. I may go there.
Do you call on your ancient ones, the guides, to help you decide?
Yes.
So go to that moment when they are there. What do you ask them?
I ask them to help me, to show me the way.
And allow them to answer you and speak directly through you so I can hear them. What do they say?
There is a village where you will be welcomed and honored. That is 3 days' journey, and you will be provided for.
And do you ask them anything else?
No.
Do you go on that journey for 3 days?
Yes.
Okay, so let's move 3 days forward to the time that you arrive to the next village. And as you arrive there, what happens?
There are children and dogs. They come to greet me.
How are the children dressed?
Mostly naked. Some of the older ones have breechcloths, small skirts.
And when they greet you, do they take you somewhere?
Yes. They take me into the village to meet their chief.
How does that go?
They are welcoming. They know me.
How do they know you?
They think I was born there.
So they welcome you back.
Yes.
Do you have any family members there?
There's a grandmother and aunties.
And are they happy to see you?
Yes. They give me food and clothes.
Wonderful. And do you explain to them why you're there?
Yes.
What do you say?
I told them of the sickness and of the earth rattling. They had heard it already. They did not believe it was my fault.
So what did you decide to do?
I stayed there.
And when you stay, do you have your own place to live?
I stay with my grandmother and aunties.
In the village?
Yes.
And do you practice your healing there?
Yes.
And how does it feel to live among the villagers and be a healer?
It feels very good.
So there is a different sense there, a different feeling than in the previous village?
Yes. A sense of belonging.
So it's okay to be with the people when there is a different feeling there, a different energy?
Yes.
So do you find that your spirit is strong there even though you're with the villagers?
Oh, yes.
Wonderful. Can you tell me why you left this village if you were born there?
I was taken away
How? Why?
by travelers.
Tell me about that. Let's go back to that time, that day, when the travelers came to your village. What happened?
They were dishonest. They tricked the people. They came for trading, but they took me away in the night. I was small. My eyes were blue.
How old were you?
Very young, maybe 4 winters.
Mm-hmm. And your eyes were blue. Did they change later?
No, they were always blue.
What did the eyes of the strangers look like?
They were dark.
Brown?
Yes.
Were the strangers different from your people?
Yes.
How were they different?
They have just different customs, different ways of being.
Were they just from different tribe or different land?
Different tribe.
And they took you to their tribe?
Yes.
Why did they take you?
Because my eyes were blue.
Why was that important?
They knew I had powers.
Is that what it meant?
Yes. Although some thought it meant I was a witch.
What about the rest of your family? Were their eyes dark as well?
Yes. My grandmother had the blue eyes too.
I see. So she had the powers as well?
Yes.
So when they took you to their village, who raised you?
I was given to a family there to raise.
And how was your life with them?
The family was kind, but not everyone was.
Not everyone outside of the family?
Yes.
Did you have siblings in that family?
Yes.
Tell me about the relationship with them.
Girls were not looked at the same way as the males. They felt my power, and I felt I was the same as they. So sometimes I was beaten
By the parents?
by the males.
The boys or the adults?
The boys and the men.
What kinds of things were you not allowed to do?
I was not allowed to show my power. I must not look them in the eyes.
So one way that you could show your power was to look them in the eye?
No, you must not look them in the eye.
But what was another way that you could not show your power?
I must not speak in a forceful way.
What else?
I must stay by the house and not supposed to wander into the woods or near the river.
Did you follow those rules?
No.
And what were the consequences when you broke the rules?
I was made to do slave things.
Like what?
All the dirtiest of the work, and to serve the men.
And why just the men?
The men were the rulers there.
And how did you serve them?
I had to care for their needs.
You seem to be upset about that.
They were not kind.
Tell me about it.
They treated me less than an animal.
What did they do to you?
Whatever they chose.
Give me an example. See one day where you served someone and they mistreated you.
I brought food to Machoya, and he did not like it, so he spat it on me, and then he threw me down and took me while others watched.
So he raped you?
Yes.
Who else was there?
All of his friends.
What was his position in the village or in your family?
He was raised as my brother. became the medicine man.
So he was the son of the people who raised you?
Yes.
And how old were you when this happened?
About 13.
How old was he?
He was older and strong.
I'm sorry that happened to you. How did it affect you?
It made me strong. I left the village to live on my own.
And where did you go?
To the edge of the forest.
So that's where you built your little hut?
Yes.
Did you build it by yourself?
Some of the women from my family helped me.
And is that why Matroya never liked you? It started with that incident.
Yes, because you couldn't break me.
Mm-hmm. Did something like this ever happen to you again or before?
No.
Allow those images to begin to float away gently as you begin to feel release and peacefulness. As you take your next breath, bring comfort into your body and into your mind. And on the count of 3, you're going to move to the last day of that lifetime. 1, 2, and 3. This is the last day of your lifetime. Tell me what you see.
I am in a bed, surrounded by the women. I'm very old, and they sing for me.
About how old are you?
Close to 50 summers.
And what are they singing?
They're singing my spirit home.
Now, how are you feeling as you're laying there in bed?
Very happy. Happy to go home.
Are you ill now?
I have fallen and injured my head. They cannot fix it.
How did you fall? What happened?
It was cold with the ice and snow. I simply tripped and I fell against a rock.
Are you bleeding?
Yes.
And how does your head feel now?
It hurt a lot at first, but now I don't feel it. I'm happy.
Are you still in the village of your family?
Yes. I was loved and had a good life.
Wonderful. And did you continue to be a medicine woman?
Yes.
Did you ever have your own family, your own children?
Yes.
Can you tell me about that?
My mate was a Koya. I had 2 children, both a boy and a girl. The girl became the new healer for the tribe. The boy was a great hunter, warrior. I'm proud.
Wonderful. Now, Koya is the name of your mate?
Yes.
And how was your relationship with him?
He was very kind and loving.
Sounds like a beautiful life.
Yes.
And are they still around now on this day, the last day of your life?
Koya has gone before me. The children are there, although they are grown.
And so just take the next breath. And with that, allow your spirit to gently lift out of your body. And as it floats above, and you begin to feel the release and healing, look back at what you have left behind. And how are people reacting to your passing?
They are crying the death song.
How are your children?
They will be fine.
And is there anybody who is meeting you now as you're transitioning?
Oh yes, the ancestors and a Koya.
And how is that meeting?
It's wonderful. I'm at peace.
Can you tell me more about the ancestors? Now that you see them for who they are, what is your connection with them?
I am one of them.
Mm-hmm. Have you been on Earth together before?
Many times.
And will you be together again?
Yes.
So before we look forward, I'd like you to review your life that you have just lived. Can you become aware of the purpose you had for this life experience? What did you want to learn?
To overcome hardships.
And why was this important to you at this point?
I needed to learn humility. It's not the right word. To overcome humility.
So is it to feel your own power?
Yes.
So you need to learn to live with your own power.
Yes.
Do you think you accomplished it?
Yes.
Wonderful. Are you able to tell if anybody from that life will be with you in your life as Lisa?
My son and granddaughter and her oldest son.
Is Akoya with you in your life as Lisa?
No.
So just allow those images to fade away. Thank the ancestors and Akoya for greeting you there. And as you float away, you're going to move to the next appropriate time and place. And as you get closer to that time, drift down to the surface. And as you approach the surface, look around and tell me the first thing that you see.
There's a castle.
Are you near the castle?
I'm still far away. I can see it over the next peak.
What is next to you?
There's a forest. We're traveling down the road towards the castle.
Who is with you?
There's a man, another woman, and a young boy.
And how are you traveling?
We have a cart. It's pulled by a big cow.
Like an ox?
Yes.
So I'd like you to look down at your feet and tell me what you're wearing on your feet.
They're leather boots, kind of shapeless.
How do they hold to your feet?
They're tied on.
What do you tie them with?
Strips of leather.
Okay. And what else are you wearing on your body?
Very dirty clothes. They're made of rough fabric, similar to burlap, scratchy and dirty.
And are you in a male or female body?
Female.
Young or old?
Young, maybe 20.
Are you healthy or ill?
Healthy.
Look at your companions and tell me how they are dressed.
They're dressed similar. They're very dirty from being on the road.
Are you traveling into the castle or just in that direction?
I think we go there for trading.
So do you bring with you things to trade?
Yes.
Are they in the cart with you?
Yes.
And what are you carrying?
Vegetables. There are pots that we've made. There are animal skins.
How long have you traveled now?
It's been several days.
Are you traveling from a place where you live?
Yes.
And where do you live?
There's a small farming village.
We'll get back to that in a moment, but let's go back to the castle. On the count of 3, I'd like you to see yourself arriving to your destination. 1, 2, and 3. Tell me what you see around you.
Oh, there are many people. I've never seen so many people. It's very noisy.
Is it a market?
Yes.
Have you never gone on these trips before?
No, this is the first time I was allowed to go.
Why was this the first time?
I wasn't old enough.
Okay. So who are the people that you're traveling with?
My uncle and aunt and their son.
And how old is their son?
Maybe 12.
Well, he seems to be much younger than you.
Yes, but he's a boy.
Oh, so a boy is okay to travel younger?
Yes.
I see. So when you arrive there, what do?
We set up our cart and spread out our wares to sell.
And how is it going with the sales?
It's going pretty well. I cannot pay attention now. There's so much to see.
What catches your attention?
There are so many fine things. Beautiful cloths and jewelry. There's a man selling toys.
Have you had toys in your life?
Not really, not like these.
What do these look like?
They're shiny and pretty colors.
So tell me about the cloths that they're selling. Are those for dresses?
Yes. So many beautiful colors. The fabrics look so soft.
Do you know if it's linen or cotton?
I think it's silk.
Silk. Those are for really fancy dresses.
Yes.
So do the people from the castle come to buy things there?
I think they send their maids. There are many women dressed in pretty colors of clothes.
Become aware of where this castle is and where this market is. Is there a name of a city nearby?
My uncle just calls it the Great City.
And you live 2 days away from it?
3.
And are you aware of what language you speak?
We speak our language.
Of course. That was a silly question. What kind of money do people use? How do you sell things in exchange for what?
It's trading. Coins are very rare.
So people trade what they have for what you have?
Yes.
And what do you need that you trade for?
We need rice. We don't have that in our village. And my aunt wants to get some of the other cloth. Not the really shiny one, but...
Something pretty?
Yes.
Does she get some?
Yeah.
And do you know where the rice comes from?
Other people bring it to trade.
Where do they grow it?
They grow it on the other side of the castle, through the mountain.
Tell me who lives in the castle, do you know?
Well, the king and queen.
And do you know their names?
No.
Have you ever seen them?
No.
What do you know about them?
The queen is very beautiful, and the king dresses in fine, fine clothing.
And do they have any children?
No,
Are they still young?
I believe so.
Are they good rulers? Do people like
They're
them?
very kind to their people, and the people love them.
Good. So as the day progresses, do you do well with your trade? You get the rice?
Yes, my uncle is happy, and my aunt found some beautiful fabric. She will make a dress for me.
Oh, that's beautiful. And where do you wear the dress? Are there special occasions, or would it be for every day?
I'm to be married.
Oh, do you have someone already?
I haven't met him yet. It is arranged.
Okay. So your parents have arranged for you to get married?
My aunt and uncle, I live with them.
Do you not have your parents?
No,
What happened to them?
they died in a plague when I was very young.
And how do your aunt and uncle treat you?
Very well.
Good. So how do you feel about your wedding?
It is an honor.
Do you know who it is, even though you haven't met him?
He lives in another village, and he is an important man.
Is he much older than you?
Yes.
Has he been married before?
Yes.
And does he have any children?
There is a small boy. His wife died in childbirth.
I see. So let's move forward a little bit to the end of this market trip. How long have you stayed there?
Just for the day.
And did you exchange any goods for coins?
I do not know. My uncle takes care of that.
And what was your role during this day? What were you supposed to do?
I just helped unpack and pack and helped to sell things.
And do you know what your aunt and uncle call you?
Ilsa.
Okay. Ilsa, let's move forward. On the count of 3, you're going to see yourself back at home. In fact, you're going to stand in front of the place where you live. 1, 2, and 3. Describe what you see.
It's a nice little house. It's made from like mud over sticks. It has a thatched roof, and there's a pen beside it for the pigs. There's a dog. He comes to greet us.
How big is the house?
It has 3 rooms. It's a big house.
Is there any fence around it?
There's the fence on the side for the pigs and the garden on the other side.
So let's go look at the garden first. What do you grow in the garden?
Cabbages, turnips, we have potatoes and beans, carrots, all kinds of good things.
Do you work in the garden?
Oh yes, I help my aunt.
Are these some of the vegetables that you sell at the market?
Yes.
How often do you go to the market?
My uncle goes every fortnight.
And it's always just for one day?
Sometimes he stays for 2.
During the winter, when you're not growing anything, how do you live during that time?
We store the vegetables, we dry them, and some are kept in jars. And we have the pigs and chickens for meat and eggs.
Very good. So go ahead and enter the house, please. And describe to me what you see there.
There's a table and chairs and the fireplace with the hearth. There are beds to the side.
Are they all together in one room?
No, some are in another room. My cousin and I sleep in the front room, and my aunt and uncle sleep in their room. And then there's another room that's a storeroom to keep the vegetables.
And where is the fire?
It's on the far side of the house.
That's a separate eating area, cooking area?
Yeah.
And do you help with cooking?
Oh, yes.
Can you tell me what kinds of things you cook?
We cook breads and cakes and stews and puddings, all kinds of good things.
And so when I count to 3, I'd like you to see yourself having one of the meals. 1, 2, and 3. Tell me what's going on.
We're having sausages that we made from the pigs with turnips and some greens. We're laughing and talking. It's a very good time. There's another man, he's a friend of my uncle's.
Did he just come to visit?
Yes, my uncle tells him news from the city.
And what are some of the news?
He tells him about all the things we saw. He heard of strangers that are coming to visit the castle, that are traveling a long way to come there. The people are not sure how it will be.
Is it a friendly visit?
They're not sure.
Are they invited?
I do not know. This is man things.
Okay. Are you sitting at the table?
Yes.
And what is this table made from?
It's wood. My uncle made it.
How many people can sit at that table?
About 6.
Very good. What about that man that you're going to marry? Let's go back to that. When is your wedding?
It is 3 weeks.
And how do you feel about the upcoming wedding?
I'm excited, but a little scared.
You still have not met the groom?
Right, and I don't want to leave my home.
Are you going to go to his village then once you're married?
Yes.
So on the count of 3, we're going to move to your wedding day. 1, 2, and 3. Tell me what's happening.
My dress is made of a beautiful green fabric that's very soft, and I feel very pretty in it.
Do you have any kind of jewelry?
Yes, I have a pearl necklace that my aunt gave to me.
And what's happening now?
My husband-to-be is coming towards me. He's a very large man.
Is this the first time you're seeing him?
Yes. His eyes seem kind. He smiles at me. So I think he is pleased.
What are your thoughts about him?
He seems kind of old, but seems kind. And I know he's important.
What is important about him?
He's an important man in the village.
Do you know what he does?
He raises cattle.
Okay. Just move forward in time to where you actually meet. Is there a ceremony first?
Yes.
And how does that go?
It is very nice.
Can you talk me through the ceremony?
There's a monk, and he is officiating the service. And there's beautiful music with a flute. And there's a man that sings. And then the monk says we are married. And everyone is happy. And then we go to eat. There's a big feast with many different foods and much wine.
Where do you get the wine from?
I do not know. I believe they make it there.
Do you know what they make it from?
I'm not sure.
Okay. And so at your feast, you finally get to talk to your husband?
Yes.
And what do you say to each other?
He asks if I'm happy, and I say yes. He says I will like his home, and his son will be happy to see me.
So do you know how old he is?
He's just walking.
The son, okay.
Yes.
What about your husband?
I believe he's the age of my uncle.
And how old is that?
Maybe 40.
And so do you continue talking?
He's talking to people around us.
And what do you do?
I'm just looking around. I'm not sure what to do.
And how do you feel right now?
I'm a little scared.
What are you scared of?
I've never been with a man before.
Are you okay leaving the village? Leaving your uncle and aunt's place?
That makes me sad.
So how long is the festivity going on?
I think until evening,
And then what happens?
and then we go to his home.
And how far is his home from your village?
It's nearby.
So let's go further in time and just see yourself arriving to his home.
It's a very fine home, much larger than my aunts and uncles.
Tell me what it looks like.
It's made of different material than my uncle's home, much finer. It has many rooms, and there are flowers in front.
In the ground?
Mm-hmm.
And as you go inside, describe what you see inside.
You enter into a large hall that has a huge fireplace, and there's a very large table to the side that can hold many people. And then there are rooms behind that, and he has 2 servants.
Can you tell me what they're dressed like?
They just wear plain gray garments.
And how do the servants greet you?
They call me Madam. They seem very friendly.
Do they look like you or do they look different?
They seem the same.
So does your husband take you around the house?
Yes.
So what else do you see there?
There is a room with many pictures on the wall, mostly of people that look very much like him.
Are they paintings?
Yes. There's a large table in one corner that has maps rolled up. He is a scholar.
So he's educated?
Yes.
Do you like that about him?
Yes.
So why does he need maps? Does he travel?
They're maps of the stars.
Oh, what does he study?
He tells me he studies the stars. Sometimes he goes on a ship.
Does he study astronomy or astrology?
I do not know.
So can I speak directly to him? Can he speak through you so I can hear him answer?
Well, I will ask him.
Ask him if he studies astronomy or astrology and allow him to answer.
It's astronomy. I study the stars so that I could guide the ships.
Okay. Do you live near water, sir?
Not very far, yes.
And yet you raise cattle in your village? Is that your primary occupation?
No, the shipping is my primary.
Oh, I see. So your bride wasn't sure what you were doing.
Yes, she's very young and does not understand the ways.
Why did you select her as your bride?
Because she was so pretty and she sings beautifully. I think she will cheer my son and raise him well.
Are you going to be away from home?
Sometimes, but not away for long.
So are you a cartographer?
Yes.
How do you study the stars?
I have a telescope that I use.
Do you study it from land or from the water as well?
From the sea, mostly.
And which places have you traveled to? Or what was your last trip?
Last trip we went to the Indies and brought back a lot of spices.
What ship did you go on? Do you remember the name?
The name of my ship is the Far Star.
Oh, you own your own ship.
Yes.
And where do you live, may I ask?
It is in the British Isles.
Do you live in a small village, or is it a city?
It's on the outskirts of the city.
And what is the name of that city?
Paraguay.
Paraguay?
Mm-hmm.
Thank you, sir, for all your information. I will let you get back to your things.
You're very welcome.
Elsa,
Mm-hmm.
your husband works with maps and he travels. Would you be interested in going on a ship with him someday?
Oh, I don't know.
That would be quite an adventure.
It would.
So just allow yourself to move forward in time to the next significant day in that lifetime. 1, 2, and 3. Tell me what's happening.
I'm having a baby.
Your first one?
Yes.
So just breathe. You're going to observe it and feel quite calm and peaceful. and tell me how things are going.
They're going very well. My aunt is here with me. She's wiping my head with a wet rag.
And where's your husband?
He's in the next room.
How long has it been since you got married?
It's been almost a year.
And how things have been over this year?
It's going very well. There's a lot to learn.
So you have to run a household, huh?
Yes, but the servants help.
And how's your relationship with your husband?
It is very well.
Does he treat you kindly?
Yes, he's very good to me.
That's good to know. What about your son? Your
Damon,
stepson?
he's growing well. He's a happy child.
So let's move forward to the moment that you give birth, and as you hold the baby in your arms, tell me.
Oh, she's beautiful.
What are you going to name her?
Elizabeth.
That's a beautiful name. Now, how are you faring?
I feel very faint.
Is your husband there with you?
Yes.
And what happened?
Doctor is here. And my husband looks very worried. There's too much blood. Oh, I don't feel well.
As you take your next breath, you're going to feel at peace and just observe what's happening. So what happens next?
I'm looking down at myself, and my husband is crying.
Did you pass on?
Yes.
What happened?
There was too much blood. I just had to go.
I'm sorry. Is your husband sad as well?
Yes. My aunt.
And your child's left behind now?
Yes. Who will take care of her?
Allow yourself to begin the healing process. And as you begin reintegrating fully into your spirit self, is there anybody who's welcoming you back?
My parents.
Oh, wonderful. And as you begin that healing journey back, become more aware of your purpose for that life, of the reason why you took that particular journey and why it ended so. From a soul perspective, what did you want to learn?
I wanted to learn about happiness, but it seems so brief.
Do you think you found it?
No.
What about your marriage? Was that a happy time for you?
I believe he loved me, but I didn't really feel true love for him. Not the way I thought it would be.
Looking at it from a spirit perspective, why did you choose to exit life at that point?
It was partly his lesson, but I don't understand why he lost both wives in childbirth.
So did you do it for him, to help him?
So
you fulfilled that part of the agreement with him, but you don't feel that you have learned the lesson of happiness from that life?
not true happiness, no.
So as you look at it from a soul perspective, I wonder if you can move to the time where you are beginning to plan your next incarnation. Is happiness a lesson that still comes back to you that you want to experience?
Yes.
And what do you decide to do with that particular lesson? At which point do you decide to return and experience it again?
This past one was such a simplistic life. I need something more depth.
And so what do you select?
I want to find something that will make my soul happy.
So move to whatever time is appropriate where you come back with that particular lesson.
I become a teacher in Glastonbury, and I love teaching the children and seeing their faces light up.
And what year is it that you're born into that life?
1943? No, 34.
And what is the purpose for that life?
To find joy.
And as you do just a scan of that lifetime, do you find joy?
Yes.
And is it with children or are there other sources?
So I marry a man and have a family. We live in a beautiful little house in the country.
And do you have a long life with that man?
Yes. And we sing and read stories to the children, and we go on small adventures. It's a very good life.
And do you remain a teacher?
Yes.
Is that life the most recent one before you came back as Lisa?
That was the last one.
So allow all of the images to float away. And as you take deep, calming breaths, drift away from the lives and the scenes that you have just experienced. And I'm going to ask if I may speak to Lisa's subconscious or higher consciousness.
Yes.
Can I ask you questions?
Yes.
You chose to bring forward a lifetime of what seemed like a native woman, and then the lifetime of Ilsa, and then a teacher. Can you explain why you chose those lifetimes to bring to her attention?
The first lifetime taught her to overcome struggles and to find her own power. And she was returned to her family and found some happiness in that life. The second life, she seemed to just live at the whim of everyone else's desires and didn't really fully even understand what she wanted. So she was taken out early.
Are you saying she was taken out early because she couldn't understand her own desires?
Yes. She was maybe a little simple and was just happy to go along with what everyone else wanted.
Was that not the direction she was supposed to take?
It was, but it didn't need to be a very long life.
So can you help her understand how those two lives explain the concerns and struggles she's having in this life and the questions that she has?
Both lives were lived more about doing for others. In the first life where she lived alone for so long, never took on a mate. In the early part of the life, she was so useful to the people, but she did not have the respect and love that she deserved. That's why they gave it to her later, towards the end.
She finds it difficult to stick with one thing that she wants to do. She can't quite figure out what she wants to do and the way in which she wants to be helpful, although she knows that she has many talents and many skills. Do those lifetimes help her understand why she has this indecision?
It's a difficult thread to follow. In the first life, she had an arrogance. It seemed to be arrogance to those around her, but she was deserving of it. The second lifetime was so simplistic. There has to be a way to tie the two together, to keep things simple, but still find the power in it.
So help her understand this lack of motivation or lack of energy for finding something that she wants to do. Or perhaps, is she doing exactly what she's supposed to and there is no need to really look for anything else?
She does more than she's aware that she does. The power doesn't have to be in big, bright, shiny ways. It's done in little everyday things. It's in the light that's sent out on a daily basis. She believes in magic and wants things to work in a magical way. And they could if she would allow it.
How can she allow it?
She just simply has to embrace who she really is. But so far she still can't see it.
Can you tell her what she needs to see, what she could be seeing? What is it that you see in her that she doesn't?
She has seen it, but she hides from it. The soul is made of light, pure, streaming light. She's afraid that if she shows that to the world, that she will be punished for it.
Is there a danger of it in this lifetime?
There has been, but we're coming to a time where she no longer needs to fear that.
So what are the ways in which she can show her light?
She has to learn to listen to the voice that she hears and ignores so often.
Whose voice is it?
Well, it's her own voice, but she pretends like it's not, like she made it up.
Is that you talking to her, the higher consciousness?
Well, yes.
And what is the best way for her to hear this voice?
If she could become aware of what she's doing in dream time, she would learn so much.
Are you talking about lucid dreaming?
Yes.
Is there a way for her to develop lucid dreaming?
There's always a way, but will she listen?
When you come to her as that voice, what are the things that you tell her? Can you tell her now?
We've told her how to heal many things, but the fear always holds her back from actually doing it.
So she was a wise medicine woman in the village.
Yes.
Is that something she can go back to, should go back to using that skill of a healer?
Oh yes, that's deep in her soul. It's the core of her being.
Did she spend multiple lifetimes using that skill?
Yes.
She is interested in working with animals. So is there any benefit one way or the other towards healing people or animals, or does it not matter?
It doesn't matter. When she heals the animals, she'll heal the people also.
If she goes back to using that skill again, is it something that will help her towards fulfilling her purpose in this life?
Yes.
Can you help her understand what her purpose for this life was? What did she want to experience this time?
It's hard to walk away from the teachings of the world. She thought the way to show love was to have many relationships and many men. That's not exactly what we meant by showing love. The love has to come from inside and be given freely to everyone in the world, but mostly to herself. She's always forgotten to love herself.
Part of what she's experiencing is loneliness in life right now. She has had relationships and she's not in a relationship now, but she also feels that she doesn't have a lot of friends or just people around her. Can you help her understand why she's feeling that lack of social support in her life right now?
Well, that's the path she's chosen. She's pushed people away and wanted to be left alone, so we gave her that. And in this time, she's supposed to be learning to love herself so that she will be able to love others, to truly receive the love of others, and not just the artificial byproduct of what people believe that is.
So what is the best way for her to proceed now? Stay focused on herself, focus on something that she can give to people, or go out and sort of rejoin others?
Well, yes, she'll have to do that. And as she learns to help others and make them let her light shine, she will attract the people she needs to be with. But she has to go out to do that.
And what is holding her back right now?
It's just fear of what has happened in the past, that it will just happen again. But she has to have trust and belief that that's not what is meant to be.
In the first life that you brought as a medicine woman, she actually found that her spirit was stronger when she was alone. Is this fueling her desire to stay alone?
Yes, that has been her experience, that when she's with a man, they tend to take her power away. But again, that's because she has chosen the wrong men, because she is not loving herself.
The relationships that she has had in this lifetime have taken power away from her. Is that related to the lifetimes that you brought to her attention, where she had to be very subservient and
Demure. Yes. Yes.
So is this lifetime for her to let go and heal that past?
Yes. Because that's what the world is coming to at this time, as the women are regaining the power. And it's time for her to see that.
And will she be able to begin that journey?
Oh, yes.
Wonderful. There's another interesting pattern in those relationships that most of the men that she was with cheated on her. Can you explain why that was important for her to experience?
She needed to experience betrayal, but it was also because that was the only thing that would make her leave. Relationships were finished. They lived out their usefulness. And it was time to leave, and that was the surest way to make her leave. But she does have pride.
So those were actually gifts to move her forward.
Of course.
Can you please help her see if any of the people that were important in this lifetime, perhaps any of the men that she was with, appeared in the lifetimes that you presented to her?
Yes, her friend Matthew has been with her in many lifetimes. He was the monk that married her in the Ilsa lifetime. He's been in many lifetimes. They've been dolphins together.
Oh, how fun.
Yes. The son and granddaughter have been in several lifetimes also, even non-physical lives.
So they're part of her soul group.
Yes.
What about the man that was her kind of stepbrother that raped her?
He actually gave him back to her in the last relationship. He's been in her life in a couple of lifetimes, and he's never been kind to her. This was his best job in the last one.
And why do they keep coming back together? What are they working on together?
I want to say to walk away with her head held high, and I believe she did that in this lifetime.
Wonderful. Kudos to her. So she is going in the right direction then.
Yes.
Good. She mentioned that she has a general sense of powerlessness. Can you help her understand where that comes from?
It's because she's getting so close to claiming her power.
And her fear pushes her back.
Yes.
And is there something that can help her step over that edge?
Just her belief in herself, and she has to do that herself. We're always here for her. She knows that. She has to take the steps.
Is becoming a healer part of that step, or it's all about simply just accepting and loving herself?
Becoming a healer would definitely help her. As she heals herself, she heals others.
Is there anything in particular important about her working with animals, or it doesn't matter?
Animals have always been her safe place.
So is this a good thing for her to work with them?
Yes, but she can trust people also.
Okay, wonderful. As she learns to step into her power and love and accept herself, is there another personal relationship that she can move towards?
We believe there will be.
So, one more thing, she's concerned about her eating habits. And there is, again, that connection with powerlessness to control them. Can you help her see that habit in terms of life lessons?
It's all part of loving herself. When she truly loves herself, she will want to eat the things that are good for her.
So it goes back to the same lesson of loving herself.
Yes.
And is that the focus of this lifetime for her?
Yes.
How is she doing so far in her life lesson? Is she on track? Is there anything that you want her to adjust?
We're deciding who wants to answer this. We believe she is on track. She was just doing it in her own way.
And who's answering this?
We're the Council of the Seven.
Any advice or suggestion you want to give her?
Have faith in yourself and believe there is magic to be had, and you will find it.
Okay. Now I want to ask the higher consciousness of Lisa to do a full body scan, starting from the top of her head and just going down through the entire body, looking for anything that is out of alignment, that needs attention. And as you find it, letting me know what it is and healing it as much as you're able to do today.
There a misalignment in the neck that could be straightened, realigned.
Go ahead and do that.
There is a small murmur in the heart.
Can you fix that?
Yes. And as she learns to open her heart more, that will repair it even more.
Should she go and address it with the doctor?
No, she can heal it.
Are you fixing it now?
Yes.
Is the neck adjustment completed?
Yes. There was misalignment in the hips, which she has not been able to resolve herself. She may need to go and get chiropractic help for that.
You can do the alignment right now, so go ahead and do that, please. How is that going?
That's in the works. The left knee has been an issue. Fell last January and did a good job of healing it herself, but there's still some tweaking we should do on that.
Okay, please go ahead with that. What kind of tweaking are you doing?
There is some musculature that's been out, has not gone back in its proper place. The whole left leg has had, there's blockages in the ankle and the circulation. I'm working on that now.
So you're adjusting the muscles?
Yes. Opening the veins in the ankles.
Can you tell me how you do that?
With light.
Do you pour light into it?
Mm-hmm.
How are the hips doing?
They're doing well. And now that the arteries and veins are opening in the ankle, there should be no more swelling of the foot.
Very good. Now, are all the adjustments completed, or are you still working on them?
It is complete.
How about the scan? Is the scan finished?
Yes.
So everything that you found is now adjusted?
Yes.
Thank you very much. I'm sure Lisa will appreciate it. I'd like to give you an opportunity to send one last message for today to Lisa. If there is anything else that you want to tell her, to remind her as she continues on her way, please speak to her directly.
Believe, believe, believe. You are light, you are love, you are divine love.
Thank you. I'm going to ask the higher consciousness to recede to where it belongs, with much love and thanks for help and information it has given Lisa today.